Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. Time is moving. Whether you use it or waste it, it's still going to pass. We are a few months away from 2026. That might sound far, but trust me, it ain't. If you don't do something now, you're going to wake up one day 2 years older and in the exact same place. And if that thought scares you, good. It should. That means you're ready for a change. Defining your life vision and sticking to it is one of the most powerful things you can ever do. Without vision, you're like a ship without a compass, just drifting wherever the current takes you. And let me tell you, life's current doesn't always take you where you want to go. That's why it's absolutely necessary to sit down and get real with yourself. Ask yourself, what do I truly want? Not what your mama wants, not what your friends think is cool, not what social media is telling you to chase, but what you want. Deep down, what is the life that when you close your eyes, you dream about? What kind of impact do you want to make? What kind of legacy do you want to leave behind? You can't hit a target you can't see. And if your vision isn't clear, your actions won't be either. Once you've defined your vision, write it down, put it on paper, put it on your mirror, in your phone, wherever you need to keep it in front of you. Because distractions are real. Life has a way of pulling you in 100 different directions, and if your vision isn't solid and present in your mind, you'll lose sight of it. People will try to talk you out of it. Circumstances will test you. But when you've truly made that vision part of who you are, you'll keep going even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. Because that's the difference between people who succeed and people who stay stuck. Successful people move forward even when they don't feel like it. They don't rely on motivation, they rely on clarity. And clarity comes from vision. Vision gives you purpose. It makes the grind make sense. It gives meaning to the long nights, the early mornings, the sacrifices. When you know what you're working toward, every no becomes part of a bigger yes. Every failure becomes a lesson, not a label. When you have a vision, you stop wasting time. You stop comparing yourself to other people. You stop jumping from one thing to the next because you've already decided what your path is. You don't need approval. You don't need validation. You just need to stay committed to your direction. That's where power comes from. Knowing where you're going and refusing to be moved by what other people say. Now, let's be real. Holding on to a vision takes courage. It takes faith because sometimes the vision looks too big for where you are. Sometimes you'll question it. Sometimes it'll feel impossible. But that's exactly why you need it. Vision stretches you. It challenges you to rise higher than your circumstances. It demands that you grow, learn, adapt, and level up. And the beautiful thing is when you honor the vision, when you work toward it with consistency, even when no one sees it, life starts to shift, opportunities come, doors open, the right people show up. But none of that happens without that inner decision to define who you are and where you're going. And here's the real truth. No one else is going to do it for you. No one's coming to hand you a map. Your life is your responsibility. Your future is in your hands. That's why the vision has to come from within. It has to be personal. It has to be something that lights a fire inside you. Because when things get tough, and they will, you'll need that fire to keep going. When you fall in your will, you'll need that vision to remind you why you're getting back up. So don't just talk about it. Don't just dream about it. Define it. Lock in on it. And refuse to let it go. Cutting off negative people without apology is one of the hardest yet most necessary steps you must take if you're serious about growth. It doesn't matter how big your dreams are or how clear your vision is. If you surround yourself with the wrong energy, you're going to struggle to make progress. Negative people drain you. They don't just take up your time, they take up your mental space, your peace, and your motivation. They plant seeds of doubt when you're trying to grow confidence. They downplay your achievements, question your ideas, and keep reminding you of who you were instead of who you're trying to become. You cannot carry the weight of people who have no intention of climbing with you. It's not about being cold. It's not about thinking you're better than anybody else. It's about protecting your environment. You have to realize that every word you hear, every conversation you entertain, every person you give your time to is either feeding your spirit or starving it. Some people don't support you simply because they're not supposed to be on your journey. They were a part of one chapter in your life, but they don't belong in the next one. And if you try to drag them with you, they only hold you back, make you second guess yourself, or convince you to settle. You cannot grow if you're constantly surrounded by people who remind you of limitation, fear, and failure. Sometimes the most dangerous people in your life are not enemies. They're friends, family members, or longtime connections who are emotionally attached to the old version of you. They'll guilt-trip you when you change. They'll say you changed in a bad way when in truth you're evolving. You're waking up to your potential. And when that happens, it threatens people who are comfortable with staying the same. But you don't owe anyone your stagnation. You don't owe them your loyalty at the cost of your future. You can love someone and still choose distance. You can respect someone and still recognize they're not healthy for you anymore. You need people around you who challenge you, who believe in you, who push you higher. If someone isn't adding value to your life, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, then it's time to reevaluate that relationship. And you don't need to make a big announcement. You don't need to argue or explain. Just step back, create space. Stop answering calls. Stop making excuses for people who continuously drain you. Your peace, your energy, your time, they are not unlimited. Protect them. As you grow, your circle will get smaller. That's natural. But it will also get stronger, more supportive, and more aligned with the person you're becoming. Let go of the need to please everybody. Let go of the fear of disappointing others. If someone can't celebrate your progress, they don't deserve to walk with you in your purpose. Growth is lonely at first, but it's necessary. When you remove toxic voices from your life, you create room for new voices that speak life, encouragement, and power into your journey. Turning every failure into a learning opportunity is a mindset that separates those who make it from those who give up too soon. Failure is not the opposite of success. It's a part of the process. Nobody in this world has ever accomplished something meaningful without stumbling along the way. The difference is, successful people don't see failure as the end. They see it as a lesson, a redirection, a necessary experience that builds character, resilience, and wisdom. When you fail, you're not being punished, you're being educated. The pain you feel in failure is the price you pay for growth. It teaches you what doesn't work, who you shouldn't trust, what you should avoid next time, and where you need to improve. But that lesson only comes if you're willing to face failure without running from it. Too many people let failure define them. They fail once and decide they're not good enough. They hear no and assume they'll never hear yes. But what they don't understand is that failure is never final unless you quit. You can fall 100 times and still rise if you're willing to reflect, regroup, and go again. Every time you fall, you're getting stronger. Every time something doesn't work out, you're learning more about your craft, your calling, and yourself. That knowledge is priceless. And it doesn't come from success. It comes from the moments you thought you couldn't go on, but chose to keep moving anyway. The truth is, life is going to throw you challenges. Plans won't work out. People will disappoint you. Projects will fail. But if you use every single experience as a stepping stone, not a stopping point, you become unstoppable. It's about shifting your mindset from why is this happening to me to what is this trying to teach me? That one question can change everything. Instead of blaming, you start learning. Instead of sulking, you start strategizing. You become more self-aware, more humble, more focused, and that makes you dangerous in the best way possible. Every great inventor, leader, entrepreneur, or artist has stories of failure, rejected books, failed businesses, broken relationships, lost opportunities, all of it part of their journey. But they didn't stay down. They studied the failure, they used the pain, and they built something better. If they had let that failure make them bitter instead of better, the world wouldn't know their name. And the same goes for you. Your failures are shaping you. They are preparing you for your next level. They are showing you how much you really want it. And you have to be willing to take the hit, face the disappointment, and still show up the next day. That's how champions are made. Not through easy wins, but through hard losses. And the beautiful thing is, when you survive a failure and come back stronger, nothing can scare you anymore. You realize that failure isn't fatal. It's fuel. Fuel for your passion, your mission, your future. It becomes your story, your strength, your testimony. Waking up early and owning your mornings is one of the most powerful habits you can build if you're serious about changing your life. The early hours of the day carry a kind of peace and clarity that's hard to find once the world starts moving. When you wake up before the noise, before the distractions, before the demands of the day start pulling at you, you give yourself a head start, not just physically, but mentally and spiritually. It's in those quiet early hours that your mind is the sharpest, your thoughts are the clearest, and your ability to focus is at its highest. Successful people across every industry understand the value of early mornings because they know it's not just about getting more done. It's about preparing your mindset before the world gets a chance to influence it. Most people wake up just in time to rush through their morning, grab something quick to eat, and run out the door feeling behind before the day even begins. That kind of start affects everything. It raises stress, kills creativity, and makes you reactive instead of proactive. But when you take control of your mornings, everything changes. You can move with intention. You can set your goals for the day, review your priorities, meditate, pray, read, or even exercise, all before most people are even awake. That level of discipline trains your mind to value structure and direction. And when your mind is in alignment, your actions follow. Waking up early teaches you how to be consistent. It's not about motivation, it's about decision. There will be days you don't feel like getting up, but you do it anyway because you've made a commitment to yourself. And every time you honor that commitment, you build trust in yourself. You become the kind of person who follows through. That's where confidence comes from, not from other people's praise, but from doing what you said you would do even when it's hard. That self-trust becomes a foundation that everything else is built on. There's also a spiritual power to the early morning. It's a time when distractions are low. Your soul is quiet and you can hear your inner voice more clearly. It's in those moments that you can reset, recenter, and refocus. Whether it's journaling your thoughts, listening to something uplifting, or simply sitting in silence and gratitude, those practices shape the energy you carry into the rest of your day. And energy is everything. When you start your day grounded and focused, you respond differently to challenges. You don't panic. You don't get thrown off by small things. You stay locked in. Building an early morning routine doesn't require perfection. It starts with consistency. Wake up just a little earlier. Use that extra time for something that fuels your growth. It could be learning a new skill, reflecting on your goals, planning your next move. Whatever it is, make it meaningful. The more you invest in your mornings, the more control you take over your life. It's not about being busy, it's about being deliberate. It's about setting a tone for your day instead of letting the day set it for you. Developing a no-excuse mentality is one of the most powerful decisions you can make if you're serious about leveling up in life. Excuses are comfortable, and that's exactly why they're dangerous. They give you something to blame, something to fall back on, something that keeps you from owning your life fully. But the truth is, as long as you keep making excuses, you're giving your power away. You're handing your potential over to circumstances, to people, to situations you can't control. And nothing great ever comes from that place. If you want something different, you have to do something different. That starts by taking responsibility. Real, honest, no nonsense responsibility for your choices, your time, your habits, and your mindset. Everybody's got a story. Everybody's been through something. You might have had a rough start. You might not have the support system others had. You might have failed more times than you can count. But guess what? None of that disqualifies you from greatness unless you let it. The world isn't going to pause and wait for you to get everything perfect. Life doesn't owe you understanding. It rewards those who rise anyway, who grind anyway, who keep showing up regardless of how unfair things might seem. That's the difference between those who dream and those who do. The doers don't wait for the right mood, the right moment, or the perfect conditions. They move even when it's inconvenient. They push even when it hurts. They keep going even when nobody claps for them. Excuses are seductive because they make you feel safe. They allow you to avoid discomfort, to stay in the familiar, to protect your ego from failure. But in doing so, they also block growth. You cannot grow and make excuses at the same time. You can't say you want to be successful and continue to blame time, energy, or other people for why you're stuck. A no-excuse mentality means you stop negotiating with your weaknesses. It means you don't allow feelings to dictate whether or not you follow through. You make a decision and then you act. Whether it's raining, whether you're tired, whether no one is watching, you do it anyway because your vision demands it. That kind of discipline takes effort. It takes self-awareness. You have to catch yourself in the moment and be brutally honest about whether you're making progress or making excuses. You've got to stop romanticizing your potential and start executing your plan. You don't need more time, you need more commitment. You don't need more motivation, you need more discipline. You don't need people believing you. You need to believe in yourself enough to stop settling for average. And when things go wrong, and they will, you don't play victim. You ask, what can I do better? What did I miss? How do I fix it and move forward? That's ownership. That's maturity. That's leadership. When you adopt a no-excuse mindset, you shift from waiting on opportunities to creating them. You start becoming the kind of person who gets things done, not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. Taking a leap of faith toward your dream is one of the boldest, scariest, and most rewarding moves you will ever make in your life. It's not something that comes with guarantees, and that's exactly why most people never do it. They wait for certainty. They wait for everything to make sense, for all the money to show up, for everyone around them to approve. But the truth is, that moment of perfect clarity rarely ever comes. Sometimes you have to jump before you see the landing. You have to trust that the net will appear or that you will grow wings on the way down. That kind of leap is not reckless. It's not foolish. It's faith in motion. And when you're driven by purpose and prepared with vision, that leap becomes the first step to everything you've ever wanted. The hardest part of chasing your dream isn't the work. It's not even the failure. It's the decision to start, to begin even when your hands are shaking, to move forward when your heart is full of doubt, to believe in something no one else can see. That takes courage. And courage isn't the absence of fear, it's action in the presence of it. Everyone who's ever accomplished something great has had to face that moment of uncertainty, that fork in the road where they could choose the easy path or the uncertain one, the safe option or the dream. And the ones who win in life are the ones who chose the dream, even when it didn't make sense on paper. Your dream will demand sacrifice. It will cost you sleep, comfort, time, and sometimes relationships. It will test your patience and stretch your faith. But it will also awaken something powerful inside of you, a sense of purpose that routine living can never give you. It will push you to grow in ways you never imagined. It will teach you discipline, humility, creativity, and endurance. And most importantly, it will teach you what you're really made of. You'll start to realize that your potential was never the problem, your fear was. And the more you act in spite of that fear, the smaller it gets. Taking that leap doesn't mean you throw caution to the wind and forget all logic. It means you prepare as best you can and then trust the process. It means you do the work behind the scenes. Sharpen your skills, study the craft, build your network. But you don't use preparation as a way to delay action. You move. You show up before you feel ready. You say yes before the fear talks you out of it. Because the truth is, the longer you wait, the louder the doubts become. But when you move quickly, when you act boldly, you give your dream momentum. And momentum is everything. There's something about chasing what's truly in your heart that brings out a fire you didn't know was there. You become focused, driven, and aligned. You begin to attract opportunities, connect with people on the same wavelength, and discover doors you never even noticed before. It's not magic, it's movement. You step out in faith and things start to shift. You stop just existing and start living with intention. You stop settling and start building something that matters.